Hello, this is Marian, your English teacher, and welcome back to the English Grammar course. Today we will continue this course with a lesson on prepositions. But first, let's review our last lesson on adverbs. An adverb is a word used to describe or modify verbs, adjectives, and prepositions. Adverbs can tell you when, where, or how an action takes place. Some adverbs are placed in a sentence to emphasize or intensify adjectives or adverbs. There are many classifications of adverbs, and they can generally be used in the following ways. At the beginning of a phrase, usually to emphasize a point. Ultimately, the team's score was too low to win. Notice how there's a comma after the adverb ultimately. We can also use adverbs in the middle of a sentence and before a verb. We sometimes get ice cream after a long walk. The adverb sometimes is placed between the subject we and the verb get. Finally, an adverb can also be placed at the end of a sentence or after a verb or clause. For example, the cat looked at the squirrel curiously. The adverb curiously is at the end of the sentence, after the verb looked. Now there are many types of adverbs. For example, of manner, time, place, degree, certainty, and interrogative. Adverbs can also be used in a variety of grammatical constructions to make comparisons. We follow the structure more plus adverb plus than to form the comparative. For example, I cry more easily than my sister. We use the construction most plus adverb to create the superlative. For example, Nathan showers the most often. With irregular verbs, like hard, we do not use more or most. We use harder than and the hardest. Or for example, in these sentences, the lion runs faster than the gazelle. The cheetah runs the fastest. Great. Now it's time for some practice. Can you find the mistake? This chair I'm sitting on is so comfortable. Come there and try it out. The mistake is there. The speaker should say, come here and try it out. There is used for things that are far from the speaker, whereas the adverb here indicates something close by. I like eating dark chocolate more better than I like eating white chocolate. In this sentence, the error is more better than. We do not need to use the word more. I like eating dark chocolate better than I like eating white chocolate. Great work! Now we can move on to today's topic, prepositions. A preposition is a word or a combination of words used to show the relationship between a noun or pronoun in a sentence to another word in the same sentence. A preposition must always be followed by a noun or pronoun. It cannot be followed by a verb. For example, the box is under the bed. The preposition under indicates the location of the box compared to the bed. We were in the middle of a storm. The preposition middle of indicates the location of the speaker in regards to the storm. Now, there are 5 categories of prepositions: simple, double, compound, participle, and phrase prepositions. In this lesson, we will be exploring simple, double, and compound prepositions and their uses. So let's get started. Simple prepositions are words like in, on, off, over, at. For example, the house is in Italy. Double prepositions are 2 simple prepositions used together, as for example, into, upon, out of. For example, pour the cream into the bowl. Compound prepositions regroup 2 or more words, usually a simple preposition and another word like across from, in addition to, from beneath. These groups or combinations of words are considered a preposition. For example, my husband sits across from me at the dinner table. These prepositions are used to form a phrase that indicates where or when something is in relation to something else, to give directions, or to introduce an object. Their usage can be further categorized into subcategories of prepositions of position, movement, time, and purpose. Let's begin with some prepositions of position or place. They are used to describe where something is located in relation to something else, or where an action happens. Here are some examples. Above. The blue dot is above the box. We use above when 2 objects are not touching. On. The blue dot is on the box. We use on when 2 objects are touching. Under. The blue dot is under the box. We use under when one object is covered by another. Underneath is also a preposition with the same meaning, but just a little more formal. Below. The blue dot is below the box. We use below when one object is in a lower position than the other. It is not touching the other object. Beneath has the same meaning as below. It is also just more formal. Behind. The blue dot is behind the box. We use behind when the subject is hidden by an object. In front of. The blue dot is in front of the box. we use in front of when the object is hidden by the subject. Next to. The blue dot is next to the box. Next to means beside. Between. The blue dot is between the two boxes. We use between when the subject is in the middle of two or more other objects. Near, close to, by. The blue dot is near the box. These three prepositions indicate a small distance between the subject and the object. We only use to with close, close to. In or inside. The blue dot is inside the box. In and inside mean the same thing. Outside. The blue dot is outside the box. The prepositions of place, in, on, at, can be the trickiest to use. In is usually used with larger or enclosed areas such as cities, countries, and tunnels. For example, I'm in Rome. Or, Josh was sitting in a cafe this morning. We use the preposition at for smaller spaces and points on a journey or destinations. For example, they arrived at the supermarket. Let's meet at the cafe. On. While we use in for cars, we use on to refer to public or commercial means of transportation. For example, the service on the plane was very good. My wife stayed on the bus until the last stop. These are general guidelines to using these prepositions. There are no specific rules and just need to be practiced. Now, prepositions of movement or direction describe how, where, or in what way something moves. The most basic preposition of direction is to, which implies movement in the direction of a goal. For example, we drove from Los Angeles to San Francisco. This means we started in Los Angeles and moved in the direction of San Francisco. Here are some more examples of prepositions of direction. Into. Into refers to something ending up inside something else. The cat jumped into the box. At the end of the action, the cat is inside the box. At. At is used to indicate direction. The dog jumped at my face. Along. Along is a movement in a straight line or on an edge. I walked along the road to my house. Around. Around is used for a movement in a circular direction. I ran around the track. Towards. We use towards when something is moving closer to something else. For example, The squirrel ran towards the tree. This means the squirrel is closer and closer to the tree. Now, prepositions of time describe when or for how long an event or action takes or will take place. The most common prepositions of time are equally in, on, at. We generally use on for days and dates. My graduation is on Monday. We use at for a specific time. Let's meet at 4 p.m. We use in to indicate a period of time. Let's work on our project in the evening. I like walking in the spring. Here are some more examples of prepositions of time. For indicates the duration of time. I've been living in Spain for 5 years. During indicates events happening at the same time. We shouldn't check our phones during dinner. The two events happening are checking phones and having dinner. Until is used for a continuous event that will finish at a specific point in the future. I'm staying at a hotel until Thursday. Finally, after is used for an action following a specific time or event. I'm meeting my friends after work. The action meeting is happening after the event work. Next, we have prepositions of purpose, which describe why something happened or will happen. Here are some examples. For, she made the cake for her brother. Because of, I arrived late because of work. From, I know from experience not to upset them. All right, it's practice time. Can you identify the preposition? The song was written by Taylor Swift. The preposition in this sentence is by. You have to pay for the tickets when you buy them. There are two prepositions in this sentence, for and to. My grandparents got married in the 1930s. The preposition in this sentence is in. It indicates a period of time. He's very good at telling scary stories. The preposition in this sentence is at. The runner suffered from a heart attack. In this sentence, the preposition is from. She ran around the office looking for her phone. There are two prepositions in this sentence, for and around. Well done! Now let's practice in a real-life context. Here is part of a story from the Brothers Grimm. The story is called The Dog and the Sparrow. We will read it together, then you will have 3 minutes to identify all the prepositions. A shepherd's dog had a master who took no care of him, but often let him suffer the greatest hunger. At last, he could bear it no longer. So he took to his heels, and off he ran in a very sad and sorrowful mood. On the road, he met a sparrow that said to him, "Why are you so sad, my friend?" "Because," said the dog, "I am very, very hungry and have nothing to eat." "If that be all," answered the sparrow, "come with me into the next town, and I will soon find you plenty of food." So on they went together into the town, and as they passed by a butcher's shop, the sparrow said to the dog, "Stand there a little while till I peck you down a piece of meat." So the sparrow perched upon the shelf, and having first looked carefully about her to see if anyone was watching her, she pecked and scratched at a steak that lay upon the edge of the shelf, till at last down it fell. Then the dog snapped it up and scrambled away with it into a corner, where he soon ate it all up. "Well," said the sparrow, "you shall have some more if you will. So come with me to the next shop, and I will peck you down another steak." All right, it's time. How many prepositions can you find? Time's up! Now in this story, there are a total of 22 prepositions. Did you find them all? The prepositions are care of him, took to his heels, ran in, on the road, said to him, come with me into the next town, plenty of food, went together into the town, passed by a butcher shop, said to the dog, a piece of meat, perched upon the shelf, looked carefully about her, scratched at a stake, lay upon the edge of the shelf, scrambled away with it into a corner, come with me to the next shop, I will peck you down another steak. Great work! Now it's time for review. A preposition is a word or a combination of words used to show the relationship between a noun or pronoun to another word in the same sentence. A preposition must always be followed by a noun or pronoun. Otherwise, it is not a preposition. Simple, double, and compound prepositions are used to form a phrase that indicates where or when something is in relation to something else, to give directions, or to introduce an object. Their usage is further classified into prepositions of position, movement, time, and purpose. Prepositions of position or place are used to describe where something is located in relation to something else, or when an action happens. Some examples are in, on, at, above, under, between, near to. Prepositions of movement or direction describe how or where or in what way something moves. For example, to, into, at, along, towards. Prepositions of time indicate when or for how long an event or action takes place. Some prepositions of time are in, on, at, for, during, until, after. And finally, prepositions of purpose describe why something is happening, has happened, or will happen. Some prepositions of purpose are for, because of, from, etc. We did it! Great work for finishing this first look at prepositions. In our next lesson, we will learn about more types and more uses of prepositions. See you then!